Alexandra Ehler arrived at Wimbledon as a promising young talent. She left as one of the biggest stories in global sports. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into one of the most unforgettable sporting moments of 2026, a story that no one could have scripted, yet millions around the world watched unfold in amazement. This year's Wimbledon delivered everything fans could hope for: unforgettable matches, shocking upsets, emotional victories, and the rise of a new global superstar. At the center of it all stood a fearless 21-year-old from the Philippines, Alexandra Eala. Wimbledon has always been a tournament built on tradition. The iconic grass courts, the strict all-white dress code, the royal box, and nearly 150 years of history have made it the sport's most prestigious stage. Every champion who lifts the trophy becomes part of tennis history. But in 2026, something extraordinary happened. A young player from Southeast Asia arrived in London and completely changed the conversation. Alexandra Ehler didn't simply compete with the world's best, she captivated fans across the globe and proved she belonged among tennis elite. By the time the tournament reached its second week, her name was everywhere. Headlines celebrated her remarkable run, social media exploded with highlights, and thousands of fans packed the stands hoping to witness history. Across London, chants of her name echoed through the grounds as spectators embraced one of the tournament's most inspiring stories. Today, we're taking a detailed look at how this incredible journey unfolded. We'll break down the tactical brilliance behind her biggest victories, examine the defining moments that turned her into a worldwide sensation, explore the overwhelming support pouring in from the Philippines, and discuss why many believe this tournament marked the beginning of a new era for women's tennis. So settle in, because this isn't just the story of a remarkable athlete. It's the story of determination, belief, and a young woman carrying the hopes of an entire nation while competing on the biggest stage the sport has to offer. Before analyzing the matches themselves, it's important to appreciate just how remarkable Ehler's Wimbledon campaign truly was. Entering the tournament, most experts focused on the familiar favorites of the WTA Tour. The spotlight remained firmly on established Grand Slam champions and top-ranked contenders. Alexandra Ehler, however, quietly arrived in London, carrying outstanding momentum. She had already enjoyed an exceptional grass court season, capturing the WTA 125 title in Birmingham before reaching the semifinals of the Berlin Tennis Open. Those results suggested she was improving rapidly, but very few predicted what would happen next. Grass has always been considered one of tennis' most demanding surfaces. The court rewards quick reactions, precise movement, aggressive shot-making, and exceptional timing. The ball stays low, points move faster, and even the slightest hesitation can change an entire match. For players raised primarily on hard courts and clay, adapting successfully to grass often takes years. Ehler didn't simply adapt, she looked completely at home. Her movement became smoother with every match, her confidence continued growing, and she began using the surface to maximize her aggressive baseline game while showing impressive variety around the net. As the tournament progressed, it became increasingly clear that she wasn't just surviving on grass, she was thriving. Grand Slam tennis also presents an entirely different level of pressure. Every match carries enormous weight, every point feels magnified. Momentum can shift in an instant, and even the smallest mistake can determine whether a dream continues or comes to an end. Now imagine facing that pressure while carrying the hopes of an entire nation. For generations, the Philippines has celebrated world-class athletes in boxing, basketball, weightlifting, and gymnastics. Yet tennis had never produced the breakthrough star capable of reaching the sport's biggest stages. Alexandra Ehler changed that. By advancing to the fourth round of Wimbledon, she became the first Filipina in the Open era to reach that stage of a Grand Slam singles tournament. It wasn't simply another statistic. It was history. Decades of waiting had finally produced a moment that inspired millions of Filipinos around the world. Back home, the reaction was nothing short of extraordinary. Watch parties filled restaurants, malls, and public spaces throughout Manila. Families stayed awake through the night to follow every point. Online searches surged as more people tuned in to witness the historic run, while leaders across the country praised her achievement as a defining moment for Philippine sports. For a brief period, it felt as though an entire nation paused to watch one young athlete compete on center court. That kind of influence extends far beyond tennis. It represents possibility. It reminds young athletes that greatness isn't limited by geography, tradition, or expectation. Someone from Southeast Asia can stand across the net from the world's biggest champions and truly believe, that victory is possible. And Alexandra Ehler wasn't finished making history. Her path to the second week of Wimbledon demanded resilience from the very beginning. Nothing came easily. Every victory had to be earned. She opened the tournament with an emphatic straight-sets win over Renata Zarazua, surrendering only 3 games in a dominant 6-1, 6-2 performance. Her movement looked effortless. Her timing was sharp. Her confidence was unmistakable. From the opening round, it was clear she had arrived ready to compete. The second round presented a far greater challenge. Facing Maya Joint, Ehler quickly found herself under pressure after dropping the opening set 3-6. Many young players might have struggled to recover from that setback on one of tennis' biggest stages. Ehler responded differently. She calmly adjusted her positioning on return, raised the intensity of her baseline rallies, and completely shifted the momentum. The transformation was remarkable. She stormed through the next 2 sets 6-2, 6-0, finishing with a stunning bagel that sent a powerful message to the rest of the field. It demonstrated not only her physical endurance, but also the mental toughness required to succeed deep into Grand Slam tournaments. Still, nothing could have prepared tennis fans for what awaited in the third round. This wasn't simply another difficult match. It was the ultimate test. Standing across the net was the defending Wimbledon champion, world number 3, and 6-time Grand Slam champion, Iga Swiatek. On paper, it looked like a classic David versus Goliath showdown. One player was already an established legend. The other was chasing the biggest breakthrough of her career. Few believed Alexandra Ehler could pull off the impossible. The world was about to find out just how wrong those predictions would be. Standing across the net was one of the most intimidating players in the sport. Iga Swiatek had built her reputation on relentless power, heavy topspin, incredible movement, and the ability to suffocate opponents with constant pressure. As the defending Wimbledon champion, she arrived in London determined to protect her title, and nearly every analyst expected her to advance without much trouble through the early rounds. But Alexandra Ehler had other plans. She walked onto centre court not as a nervous underdog grateful for the opportunity, but as a confident competitor who genuinely believed she could win. From the very first point, her body language made one thing clear: she wasn't there to admire the moment. She was there to challenge one of the greatest players in the world. The opening set quickly became one of the most unforgettable battles of the tournament. For 84 exhausting minutes, the two players traded blows in a contest packed with breathtaking rallies, fearless shot-making, and constant momentum swings. What made Ehler's performance so remarkable wasn't just her athleticism, it was her tactical intelligence. Being left-handed gave her a natural advantage on grass, and she used it brilliantly. Rather than allowing Swiatek's heavy topspin to dictate the rallies, Ehler struck flatter, lower trajectory ground strokes that stayed dangerously low after the bounce. On a surface as quick as Wimbledon grass, those shots robbed Swiatek of the high contact point she normally thrives on. Instead of retreating behind the baseline, Ehler stepped forward. She took the ball early, attacked on the rise, and consistently shortened the defending champion's reaction time. It was an aggressive game plan executed with remarkable discipline. The rallies became increasingly physical. Each player earned service breaks, only to see the momentum shift again moments later. Every game felt like a miniature battle, with neither woman willing to surrender an inch of the court. Eventually, the opening set reached a dramatic tiebreak, and that's where the match truly came alive. Swiatek struck first, earning an early mini-break before creating 2 valuable set points. The atmosphere inside center court became almost unbearable. More than 15,000 spectators sat in complete silence, fully aware that the next few points could determine the direction of the entire match. For many young players, that pressure would have been overwhelming. Not for Alexandra Ehler. She refused to blink. Instead of playing cautiously, she attacked. She erased both set points with fearless shot-making, trusting the aggressive style that had carried her this far. Point after point, the tension continued to rise as the tiebreak stretched far beyond its expected finish. 7-all, 8-all, 9-all, every rally felt bigger than the last. Finally, after surviving one of the most intense exchanges of the tournament, Ehler forced one final mistake. Swiatek's forehand drifted long, and the scoreboard flashed an unforgettable result. Ehler had won the tiebreak 11-9. Center court exploded. The roar from the crowd echoed throughout the stadium as fans rose to their feet in appreciation of an extraordinary display of courage and composure. Winning that first set wasn't just a numerical advantage, it was a psychological breakthrough. The defending champion had thrown everything she had at the young Filipina, yet Ehler had stood her ground and emerged stronger. Then came the moment that would instantly circle the globe. During one breathtaking rally, Ehler sprinted desperately toward a sharply angled shot that appeared impossible to reach. On the slick Wimbledon grass, she lost her footing and began falling forward. Most players would have accepted the point was over. Ehler didn't. Balancing almost entirely on one hand as her body dropped toward the court, she somehow managed to stretch out her racket and guide the ball back over the net with astonishing control. For a split second, it looked almost unreal. The image captured photographers at exactly the right moment, freezing Ehler in mid-fall while somehow still producing a clean return. Within minutes, the photograph flooded social media. Fans everywhere called it one of the greatest sports images of the year. The comparison came almost immediately. The determination, the impossible recovery, the refusal to give up on a single point. It reminded many viewers of the legendary defensive brilliance that made Rafael Nadal famous throughout his career. Whether or not it was the greatest recovery shot of the tournament, one thing was undeniable. That single point perfectly represented Alexandra Ehler's Wimbledon journey. Relentless, fearless, unwilling to surrender. Fueled by the confidence gained from winning that unforgettable opening set, Ehler carried her momentum straight into the second. She stormed out to a commanding 4-0 lead, reading Swiatek's serve with remarkable accuracy and repeatedly exposing open space with precise passing shots. The defending champion fought back with the determination expected of a multiple-time Grand Slam winner, managing to recover one of the breaks. For a brief moment, the pressure shifted once again, but Ehler never allowed doubt to enter her game. Serving for one of the biggest victories of her career, she faced multiple break points in a long, physically demanding final game. Each time she responded with the same calm confidence that had carried her through the first set tiebreak. Then on her third match point, she delivered the perfect finish. A blistering cross-court forehand winner flew past Swiatek and landed inside the line. Game, set, match. Alexandra Ehler had stunned the defending Wimbledon champion, winning 7-6, 6-2. It wasn't simply an upset. It was the performance that announced to the entire tennis world that a new force had officially arrived. The moment the final ball landed, Alexandra Ehler could no longer hold back her emotions. She collapsed onto the famous Wimbledon grass, buried her face in her hands, and burst into tears. They were tears of joy, relief, and disbelief after achieving the biggest victory of her professional career. What happened next made the moment even more unforgettable. Center Court, a venue famous for its respectful and often reserved atmosphere, rose together in a thunderous standing ovation. Thousands of fans recognized they had witnessed something truly extraordinary. This wasn't just another upset. It felt like the arrival of a new star on one of tennis' greatest stages. That stunning victory carried Ehler into the second week of Wimbledon, where another enormous challenge awaited. Standing across the net would be the tournament's 13th seed, Italy's Jasmine Paolini, a former Wimbledon finalist and one of the tour's toughest competitors. Their meeting carried extra intrigue because Ehler had already defeated Paolini earlier in the season in straight sets at the Dubai Tennis Championships. This time, however, the circumstances were very different. London was experiencing unusually hot weather, with temperatures climbing above 30 degrees Celsius. After several physically demanding matches, the accumulated fatigue began to show. For the first time during her remarkable run, Ehler's powerful first serve started to lose some of its consistency. Her first serve percentage dropped noticeably, and with it came a slight decrease in pace. Paolini immediately recognized the opportunity. The Italian attacked Ehler's second serve aggressively, stepped inside the baseline whenever possible, and gradually took control of the opening set, winning it 6-4. Many expected the magical run to end there. Instead, Ehler responded exactly as she had throughout the tournament, with determination. She refused to let the match slip away, feeding off the incredible support from the center court crowd, who repeatedly chanted her name between points. She elevated her level once again. Her movement became sharper, Her ground strokes found the corners. Her confidence returned. A crucial service break gave her control of the second set, and she held her nerve to win it 6-4, sending the match into a decisive third set. The final set became a true battle of endurance. Neither player was willing to surrender momentum. Game after game, they exchanged powerful baseline rallies, holding serve through moments of tremendous pressure. But eventually, experience made the difference. In the seventh game of the deciding set, Paolini finally earned the critical break she had been searching for. From there, the Italian remained composed, serving out the match to complete a hard-fought victory. The scoreboard showed Ehler's Wimbledon journey had come to an end, yet somehow it didn't feel like a defeat. As she walked toward the crowd, Ehler formed a heart with her hands before blowing kisses to the thousands of fans who had embraced her throughout the tournament. The applause that followed said everything. She may not have advanced to the quarterfinals, but she had already won something far greater, the admiration of the tennis world. During her post-match press conference, Ehler summed up her entire tournament with a simple message. Never say die, play every point like your life depends on it. Those words perfectly reflected the fearless mindset that carried her through one of the most memorable Grand Slam runs in recent history. When the tournament finally came to an end, the numbers told an incredible story. By reaching the fourth round, Ehler earned 240 valuable WTA ranking points, a result that significantly strengthened her position in the world rankings and dramatically improved her chances of receiving direct entry into the biggest tournaments on the calendar. Just as important was the financial reward. Her Wimbledon performance earned her approximately £300,000 in prize money, pushing her season earnings comfortably beyond the $1 million mark. For professional tennis players, that kind of financial stability changes everything. It allows them to build stronger support teams, hire elite coaches, travel with experienced physiotherapists, work with sports psychologists, and compete with the same resources available to the sport's established stars. Every successful tournament creates opportunities that extend far beyond the court. But perhaps the greatest impact of Ehler's Wimbledon breakthrough wasn't measured in rankings or prize money. It was measured in inspiration. The digital response to her run was extraordinary. Highlights of her stunning victory over Iga Swiatek quickly became some of the tournament's most-watched videos, attracting millions of viewers across social media and introducing countless new fans to women's tennis. Suddenly, Alexandra Eala wasn't simply representing the Philippines. She had become one of the faces of the sport itself. Her success also challenged long-held assumptions about where Grand Slam contenders could come from. For decades, Southeast Asia had rarely been viewed as a region capable of producing consistent contenders on tennis' biggest stages. Eala changed that perception. She proved that talent, determination, and world-class preparation matter far more than geography. The praise poured in from every corner of the tennis community. One of the sport's greatest legends, Billie Jean King, publicly congratulated Eala and described her achievement as an inspiration, not only for young athletes in the Philippines, but for children everywhere who dream of accomplishing the impossible. Receiving recognition from one of tennis' most respected voices only confirmed what fans already believed. A new star had arrived. Looking back on her journey, Eala often spoke about the sacrifices that made this moment possible. She remembered rushing to practice after school, training alongside her brother and grandfather, chasing tennis balls while wearing light-up shoes and dreaming of one day competing at Wimbledon. Those childhood memories now carry even greater meaning. What once seemed like impossible dreams have become reality. And somewhere today, another young child is watching Alexandra Eala and believing that the same dream could become possible for them. That may be the greatest victory of all. As we close this remarkable chapter, one thing has become unmistakably clear. Alexandra Eala is no longer simply a promising young player. She is no longer just an exciting underdog. She has become one of the brightest new stars in world tennis. Her fourth-round finish may have ended her Wimbledon campaign, but it also marked the beginning of an exciting new era in her career. The experience she gained, the confidence she built, and the belief she inspired will travel with her into every tournament that follows. With the hard-court season and the US Open on the horizon, expectations have never been higher. And judging by everything we've seen over these unforgettable 2 weeks in London, Alexandra Ehler isn't satisfied with making history once. She wants much more. The tennis world is officially on notice. The Philippines has found a new sporting icon, and Wimbledon 2026 will forever be remembered as the tournament where Alexandra Ehler announced herself to the world. If you enjoyed this documentary-style breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our in-depth sports features. Now we'd love to hear from you. What was your favorite moment from Alexandra Ehler's unforgettable Wimbledon run? And how many Grand Slam titles do you think she can win during her career? Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.